The CFPB also found that Nissan, quote, you're going to love this, Dad, kept personal property in consumers' repossessed vehicles until consumers paid a storage fee and deprived consumers paying by phone of the ability to select payment options with significantly lower fees. Pops, I've got bad news.
What is that, handsome?
I spent all last night trying to learn how to screen print so I could start making those t-shirts, and I can't figure it out.
Perfect. I've got some I've got some good news.
Okay.
The good news is that if you want to find the best car price when you're looking for your new car, well, go to findthebestcarprice.com/insider so that you can get all the information that Jeff and his team, and we keep using the word, that Jeff and his team have aggregated, which is a nice way of saying that they have gathered all this information, kind of like the way squirrels gather nuts for the winter. Jeff and his team have gathered the nuts of the manufacturer's incentives for you at findthebestcarprice.com/insider. See you later.
The nuts of the manufacturers. That's what you went with, yeah?
Yeah. See you later, aggregator.
The nuts.
The nuts, yeah. Sorry about that.
I'm going to go back to watching screen printing videos after this. Okay, what are we talking about today, Pops? Aren't we talking about NMAC?
Yes, Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation. You know, they've admitted no wrongdoing, but they have accepted the fine from the Consumer Protection Bureau for having repossessed cars from customers that, well, shouldn't have been repossessed.
You know what this reminds me of, Dad? Like right off the bat? The BMW episode that we did. Like BMW fraudulently reporting sales. Nissan Motor Acceptance Corp. Fraud. I mean, is it fraud? It's just like illegally repossessing cars from people. I mean, Ally Bank, I think, is also in court right now for this as well. The car business, man. The car business.
The car business. And the wonderful thing about the legal business is that we allow corporations and people, individuals for that matter, to not admit any guilt, but to pay huge fines for having done nothing that they should be guilty about. You know what would be nice is if you're guilty of something, you admit that you're guilty of something, and you still pay the fine. But NMAC is paying a $4 million fine. And I guess some of that money hopefully will wend its way to the people who got kind of screwed when their cars were repossessed when they weren't in default for that to have happened.
Let's read it. I mean, let me read it if it's okay with you verbatim from the article, just so that our audience knows. So it literally reads, I'll put it on the screen. Maybe it's NMAC. I don't want to, it could be NMAC or NMAC, repossessed vehicles from consumers who made payments that decreased delinquency to less than 60 days past due or took other steps that should have prevented repossessions, the Bureau said. Adding, NMAC told consumers it would not repossess vehicles if payments were less than 60 days past due. So really at the core here was that Nissan Motor Acceptance Corp was repossessing vehicles that they told people they weren't going to repossess. And then the best part is the next line of this article is the Consumer Protection, the CFPB, also found that Nissan, quote, you're going to love this, Dad, kept personal property in consumers' repossessed vehicles until consumers paid a storage fee and deprived consumers paying by phone of the ability to select payment options with significantly lower fees.
There's no guilt there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going like to capitalism hell, but man, that is like,
They violated probably so many different segments of the contract that they had their customers sign in regards to what happens if there's a repossession. They are not allowed to just hold on to people's personal belongings until a storage fee is paid. They're the people's personal belongings. NMAC is allowed to repossess the car because the people are behind in their payments, but they're not allowed to hold the people's personal belongings, which were not put up as collateral for those payments or on that loan, as in abeyance for paying these fees. I mean, it's just absolute corporate greed.
I was going to say it's ludicrous.
He was a rapper.
I was
an
thinking of
actor.
a rapper.
Yeah. He was good.
So, Dad, I have a question for you. How foreign is this article and this breaking news that has come out within the past few days? How foreign of a concept is this in the auto industry? And I guess if you can think back to you started in the 70s, right? You started in the 70s or in the late 60s?
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah,
no,
so
in the late 60s, I was still in high school, damn it.
My bad. I didn't mean to age you. But tell me, how foreign is this? I mean, has stuff like this been going on forever? Is it kind of just the status quo in the auto industry?
Well, never having been on the finance side of things. So what I mean by that is never having worked for the financial arm of any of the manufacturers' brands that I represented, I really don't know how foreign this is. It doesn't surprise me, however, and I would think, and this is just an opinion, I would think that what we're seeing here with NMAC is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all of the lending institutions that are involved in repossessing cars. Right now, or at least for the last 6 or 7 months, because of forbearance programs and things like that, because the lenders understand the significance of the financial situation that we find ourselves in, they're not actually as actively repossessing cars as they have in the past. But I am certain that what NMAC was accused of doing and what they're paying a fine for is common practice probably at most lenders. And we just don't hear about it. Those of us who have always paid our loans on time, those of us who have never been in a serious enough financial situation to where we've fallen into a delinquent status, we don't know from this. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience when I had the golf store.
And it is important. I mean, so I just want to point out for our audience, because I don't think we've ever given the context. You worked in the car business for 20-ish years, took a 2-year hiatus, 3-year hiatus, then back to the car business?
Mm-hmm. I worked in the car business. I left the car business to move to Arizona to open up a Golf USA franchise in Mesa, Arizona. And I hate to say this, but I'll say it with as much pride as I can muster. And I went broke, damn it, okay? I lost the store. And in the process of losing the store, I wasn't in a position to be able to pay the creditors, the vendors that sent me their products for me to sell. I wasn't taking in enough money to be paying them. And so I know from firsthand experience how mentally debilitating that is when you no longer have the wherewithal to take care of your financial obligations that you wanted to. I know what it was like personally to receive numerous 10, 15 collection calls every day, and honestly lying to the people on the other end saying, yeah, I hope to get some money out to you. I didn't have any money to get out to them. So I know what it's like, and I know what some of the practices are that they employ, and I knew even when they were employing them then that they were illegal. So I can only imagine that really what we see here with NMAC is common practice for most lenders. And even though there's rules and regulations set up to a certain degree protect those who have fallen behind, they're not rules and regulations that the government strictly enforces. And when you read that, this fine is to cover the years 2013 to 2019, Well, how do you think those people from 2013 feel that it took 7 years of their lives to see some justice about this? So it's frustrating.
Put it into context. NMAC is pretty freaking huge, and I wish I had a more professional way of saying that, but it was in 2018 that 382,000 loans were funded through NMAC and almost 300,000 leases just in 2018. And in that same year, I'm reading it verbatim from the article here, nearly $50 billion in outstanding loans and leases were initiated. And so the idea that a $4 million fine is even a slap on the wrist it's a fallacy. $4 million is nothing to a company of that size and stature. And obviously, one of the things that we strive to do here with your auto advocate is to share this news with you so that you can be more informed, so that if you are going to go buy that Nissan Rogue with the CVT transmission, hey, Scotty Kilmer, just understand, if you're financing it through NMAC or if you're financing any vehicle, read your contract. If you have any questions, like you always say, Dad, press pause on the conversation with the F&I manager. Like, take control, because you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. These are multi-billion-dollar companies, and they don't care about us, nor should they care about us. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. I get it, but we got to look out for ourselves, and that's why knowledge is power. That's why, pressing pause and looking out for your own best interests. Like, that's what we strive to do with these videos, is make you aware of these things that are happening so that you can be more informed as you're going through what is probably the most stressful purchase you're going to have in your life.
That is correct. Knowledge is power. And I was thinking of this earlier today. Think of the power of knowledge. Okay? No, think of it. I mean, in the reverse. We always say knowledge is power, but there's power in having the knowledge, okay, so that you can better protect yourself. And if you find yourself falling into an untenable financial situation, initiate the conversation with the lending institution before they initiate it with you. That shows good faith. And sometimes that's all you can share with them is good faith.
Well, there is a distinction between voluntary and involuntary repossession, and I've done some research around that, and it's no one says outright that, hey, a voluntary repossession doesn't negatively affect you as much as an involuntary one, but you've got to imagine that it probably is they're both, neither look good on your credit history, but
that is correct.
The voluntary repossession looks better than the involuntary. So maybe there's some merit there. You can research it yourself. There's nothing conclusive out there that says yes or no to that.
Well, I'm so glad we got to talk about this today, and hopefully that $4 million that NMAC had to give up isn't going to their executives as bonuses this year.
I still can't believe you did the promo for Jeff's Find the Best Car Price with nuts from the company. I mean, that is just classic, Pops. I love that. The
nuts of the manufacturer's incentive. Yeah, company nuts. You never know who they are or where to get them.
Let's sign off.
Okay. Love you, honey.
Yeah, I'll see ya.